Let me get Cliff May back on the show, president of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracy. He's one of our few guests who actually holds a certificate in Russian language. Right? Doesn't it done yet?
I do.
Doesn't it done?
A little rusty these days.
Cliff, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Good to be with you.
I'm sorry I had to go coming from that. See, every morning, every hour, they play a piece of audio to catch me off guard. It's going to get me mad. And then they don't tell me what the audio clip is, and then I got to hear a weasel like Jay Carney. Sorry.
Keeps you on your toes.
You know, it really does. It really, really does. I'm looking over some. What did you write for Town Hall? Interesting article about. Let's talk about the Hurray for Hollywood article you posted recently.
I actually wrote for the Washington Times, where I'm a columnist, but Town Hall is kind enough to republish my stuff there and aggregate it. Yeah, look, I'm given the benefit of the doubt. For a long time, Hollywood, like too many in our political class, have refused to understand the danger to human rights posed by radical Islam or Islamism or Sharia law, call it what you will. Finally, Hollywood seems to have woken up a little bit. And you had Jay Leno and Ellen DeGeneres and others actually out in the streets protesting at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Now, why? Because the Beverly Hills Hotel is owned by the Sultan of Brunei. What is Brunei? It's a tiny little country in Southeast Asia, north coast of Borneo, ruled by a sultan. He is fabulously rich because of oil that was found there in 1929 by Europeans. And he recently declared that as of this month, Sharia law would be instituted in his sultanate. And what that means, among other things, is that homosexuality is a crime punishable by death. And that brought Hollywood to its feet, brought Hollywood out into the streets to protest. And I hope that we'll go on to learn the other things that Sharia means. For example, if somebody in Brunei decides to convert from Islam to Christianity, they will be killed, or they will stand to be killed under Islamic law.
Look at the story right now out of Africa, the poor pregnant lady who's a Christian. They're going to murder her. The Muslims are going to kill her because she won't renounce her Christianity. They're going to wait for her baby to be born, 8 months pregnant.
That's right. That's right. That's in Sudan. She's been raised as a Christian. She had a Muslim father under their strict interpretation of Sharia. Having a Muslim father means she is a Muslim. If she renounces Islam, if she does not practice it, if she calls herself a Christian, she deserves to die, despite the fact that she's married to a Christian and she's pregnant and she has a child. We have to understand that there are quite a few countries in which this interpretation of Sharia is already imposed, others where it is likely to be. In fact, if there are 56 countries in what's called and deceptively, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the interpretation of Islamic law is getting stricter, not less strict in more of them. Pakistan would be one example, where a lawyer defending a Christian on trial for blasphemy, meaning they're accused of insulting through words either Mohammed or Islam, the lawyer defending her was shot to death the other day.
Amazing. Cliff May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and writer. How is it that Muslim terrorists daily will call for the destruction of Israel, the destruction of America, the destruction of Europe, blah, 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 and all of a sudden Hollywood goes, oh, my God, there's a gay angle. Let's go out and protest.
Well, no, there is an irony in that. It's sort of like they're rather selective at this point in their outrage, so that an attack on gay people, again, gets them into the street, but genocidal threats against Israel or against Jews, attacks, the persecution and cleansing, I would say, of Christians throughout the Muslim world, which is taking place. It's one of the biggest stories, kind of hardly being reported by the major media. These things, they get a yawn from Hollywood. You're not seeing any movies about this sort of thing. It is very odd that it is only one minority group that is persecuted, and they are in the Muslim world in almost every country, and everything else just doesn't register with them.
Because you remember, it was a Christmas or two ago, the Muslim Brotherhood was leading these purges of churches, nuns, Christians in Egypt. There was the churches were being burned, the people were being murdered. Hollywood must have been on vacation. But you throw in a gay angle, seriously. It's like nobody complained about the persecution of Christians by the Muslim Brotherhood. And keep in mind, I mean, we've had our government has said, I think, quite erroneously at best, that the attack in Benghazi was a result of a video by some Coptic Christian living in California, some strange video that nobody had seen, which was insulting to Islam. And so, that's people naturally got really mad and began to burn and shoot and kill. Is that really? I mean, how does that become the analysis? And I think it's a misleading analysis, whether purposefully or through ignorance. Got 30 seconds. What's going to happen to the Beverly Hills Hotel, which I've been to? I mean, it's a landmark place. When the Sultan of Brunei says, "No, I mean it is." Look, it is what it is. I was there.
There are other good hotels there in Beverly Hills. I usually stay at the Peninsula, which is when I go there, which I like very much. My hope only is that this begins to awaken people in Hollywood about what Sharia actually means and what radical Islam actually means, and all the people that are persecuted. Would love to see a couple of films on that for a change, instead of films that always have blonde, blue-eyed guys with British accents as the villain.
Because we have so many blonde-haired, blue-eyed British enemies,
But by the way, the other thing to recognize, and somebody from the hotel said it, is, hey, do you know how many hotels are owned by the Saudi Arabians? And you think they also don't have a very strict Sharia law?
Absolutely.
Where you cannot, a Christian cannot have a Bible or pray in Saudi Arabia?
Amen.
Maybe
Amen.
we should think about that, and I think they should.
Amen. Good work. Cliff May, good stuff.